Deflation. It's starting to pop up in the news, different reports here and there. All of the financiers and investors and things like that are saying that we're now heading into a potential deflationary period. Right now, everyone knows what inflation is. That's where it takes more of these to buy one of these. With deflation, simply put, less to get the same amount, or in some cases, what you were spending before to get a little bit more. With that being said, it's an advantage to preppers. It's an advantage to people who plan ahead. Now, across the board, they've been talking about how the dollar value will increase and you'll be able to get more for the same dollar of those same items. And to one extent, that is true. You might not see it with certain services like a plumber or a carpenter, because they've paid for a lot of their equipment and a lot of the parts and materials that they use ahead of time, while also paying the higher prices for that. So they're not immediately going to cut down their cost simply for the jobs that are coming up. They still have to pay back or pay off the money that they spent to get the things they needed to keep their business up and running. But you will see it more in your on-the-shelf stuff, the goods that are up there in your supermarkets, the goods that are in the retail stores, things like that. You'll start to see price drops. Now, just like with inflation, you're not going to see things immediately become 50% off, 75% off from what they were a week or two earlier. But over the next few months, you will start to notice, one, retailers will start pushing out old stock, old merchandise. Some of it they will discount. They will take 10% off, 20% off. They'll have sales, but they want it gone because now they're able to afford to buy more merchandise at a lower cost, filling up their stock rooms, filling up their warehouses, and filling up the shelves. So they want to clear out all of the older stuff, whether it's food, clothing, doesn't matter. They get it gone, bring in the new stuff at the newer reduced rates. And again, you'll start to see things going down a little bit. Now, one of the things that they talk about as an advantage to people is they say that the consumers, seeing that they're getting more for their dollar, and especially when it comes to being able to now afford to still pay all your bills and not be completely broke at the end of the week or in the end of the month, they, as far as they goes, they're all the financiers and all the talking heads you see on the news, always state that, consumers will hang on to the money that they have and not really spend. That is incorrect, because no one can get away with not spending. You may not spend money on a 70-inch plasma TV, but you're still going to spend money. And if you're into emergency preparedness and you're looking at everything that's been going on for just the last 3 to 5 years, and you move that forward 6-7 months down the road, we're in a position now where in many cases it's better to start planning and saving and storing up now than waiting till the end of the year, because just like with inflation, it sneaks up on you, and before you know it, first something's a penny more, then it's 3 cents more, then it's 12 cents more, then it's 80 cents more, then it's $1 more. It's never on a regular cycle. It's never something that you can mark on a calendar. In 2 weeks, this will be this cost, and then 2 weeks after that, it will cost this. Deflation is going to work the same way. You'll start to notice a few drops here and there in lowering of prices for certain items or certain areas of commercial business and industries. And then you'll notice the price differences a little bit more, especially if you happen to have a receipt or remember you took a photograph of something that you were pricing out before and you look at it 2 months later and you go, oh, there's a difference. It might be 8%, might be 16, might be 30%, whatever it is. That's how it's going to go. But just like everything else, there are cycles. There are periods where the inflationary curve is at the high, it levels, and then it starts to drop, and we head into the deflationary period. The difference between those peaks and valleys and how long they are determines where people are when they start saving up. So for those of you that do plan on saving up, that would be the period to start looking at certain items that you may want to get that maybe right now you can't afford simply because you can't afford it. You don't have enough money or it costs far too much. You start eyeing it, and then you start thinking, well, if I put a little bit away. So if you take, all of your bills that you have. So if you put, $1 off towards your rent or your mortgage, and you're putting $1 away towards your utility bills, and then you're grabbing another $2 that you're going to use to take care of food and other necessities, and you still have $1 left over. If you can take that $1, put that aside for those future purchases, whether it be you save it up for 2 weeks and then make a purchase, or you save up for a month and look to see where the price is at, keeping your eye on it, and then decide if you're going to buy it then. That would be in your better interest, because there are many factors, as we've seen from 2020, that can change the costs and the value of items or their availability. If there were to be another going around, that's going to slow things up, especially with potential stops in the supply chain. If there's an attack by people who like to terrorize people, that will cause problems. And it doesn't happen to be direct in one location. It will have a ripple effect. And if you have two powers that are super and they go at it, again, that's going to cause things to dramatically change. Other things that, most nations have experienced when there is political unrest, controversy, and outright contentiousness during an election period, which I believe 2024, we may have one coming up, that can affect what is available, what things cost, and where they are within the country. So if you start planning now, and you're saving up and you're itemizing everything that you need over the next few weeks, so as January, February, April, June, by July, you're pretty comfortable with what you have, and you're looking at all the things that you've purchased that you need, and you've got your eye on those few things. If the cost of everything is still going down and the dollar value is maintaining within that ratio or going up, that would be something to look at. You're looking at, again, those shelf-stable goods, those items that you're not necessarily consuming every single day or every single week, but the things that you can buy now and you maybe use once or twice over a 2-3 month period. This way you have them. Even if you're looking at doing some other repairs on your home, you may be able to find the work gets a little bit cheaper, and at that point you can have certain things you need done, whether you need a roof done, insulation, whether you need to get your car repaired or get a new vehicle, whatever that case is, you save up, you put the money aside, and you start keeping an eye on what those costs are to make that determination of, do you do it now or give it another 2 weeks and then take a look at it? Because we're going to hit a certain point, I feel, and again, it's just opinion, just pure speculation, that as everyone starts getting excited about the lower price of everything and about how their dollar is stretching a lot farther, people will get reminiscent and then complacent. They will enjoy that period a little too much. It'll be too easy, too comfortable to, oh, I won't worry about that. I've got plenty of money and I'll take care of that later. 4 months goes by, 5 months, 6 months, and then things start to get a little tense. Things start to heat up. There starts to become questions about what's going on in the Asian Pacific theater, what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on in Africa, what's going on just south of the border in Central America, what is going on within our own country as we get closer to these elections, as we start looking at everything that has been going on that we kind of got too laxed and comfortable with. And then once people start hearing those alarm bells go off, that's when the panic buying starts. That's when suddenly the product is no longer on the shelf. It can't get from the warehouse fast enough. They can't produce it, assemble it, ship it from wherever it is internationally to get into the country quick enough for people to buy. And then you run right back into that same cycle that we were in not that long ago, where it was either a problem at the production end and distribution, warehousing, and retail were fine, or a problem somewhere in the transportation and distribution or in the warehousing at the retail. Either way, it only takes one of those, let alone two of those, to shut everything down, to drag things out and to make it more complicated. So right now is the thing that you need to start doing, even looking at your debt, whatever you owe, credit cards, mortgages, loan payments, motorcycle, car, whatever it is. Look to see what you can pay off or what you can pay down. Or even if you want to, look to see how much you can save to put aside. So in the event that you have loss of income for a short period of time, or something else happens, let's say there's a cyber attack on the banking system, you might have literally just enough off to the side, kept safe, somewhere else where you can make those payments so you can keep your house, so you can not have your vehicle repossessed, so you can keep the lights on and the power running, and you still have some cash on hand that while things are still on the shelf in the grocery stores, you can still go in and buy what you need to add to what you've already stored up. Because in the event that, effectively speaking, the lights get shut off, click, click, and it's done, all of that goes away and you won't have that opportunity. You'll be out there with the masses scrambling and fighting for what little bits there are, and that's when things get dangerous. You take a look at any of the countries like Venezuela as an example. When everything started collapsing, initially people were calm, initially people were cooperative, but then once it got to the point where they were just fed up with it, that's when things got bad. You could look at it on a political aspect, things that were going on in China just a few years ago, things that are currently going on within Israel right now. Any little thing like that initially may seem like it's going to be fine, but then it continues on and it gets worse. So the best thing to do is to plan ahead, start making your own wish list and taking a look at a whole system setup of what you actually need and what you want, but where somewhere in between those two can meet. Because if you simply go on the wants, you're going to find you're spending a lot of money on stuff that is completely useless. By the end of the day, you're going to wish that you had really focused on what you need. And if you look at all the things that you need, you're never going to be able to get them all, and you're going to get discouraged. So you kind of have to find that balance of what you can get right now, cross it off the list, and then move on, versus what you need to actually save up and plan for, so when you do have that opportunity, boom, just like that, you're ready to go. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll catch you in the next one.